tutorial, I'm going to show you how to create a basic collage using GIMP. Now with the program open, you're going to want to go to the main window and go to File, Open, and then find the image you want to use as your background. Now it's important to note when finding a background image, you want to have it be fairly large. Up here you can see that the size is 1024 by 768 pixels. Now the reason for finding a large image is you're going to be placing many photos over it, so the larger the background the better. And you can find background images using Google Images Search or Microsoft Bing Image Search, for example. Just be aware that some are subject to copyright. Also, when working with large images, you're going to notice that the zoom view down here will be a little bit less. It'll be at 66.7%, for example, versus 100. When you do that, you don't capture the whole picture. So it's important on your zoom down here that you have the entire image taking up the window. That way you can cover the whole image with the pictures you're going to be importing. So the first step we want to do is bring in the first picture. We do this by going to File and Open as Layers. I'm going to be doing a dog collage, so I'll open the first dog picture by double clicking on it. And here you can see that the dog is much too big compared to the background. It's almost the same height. So what we're going to want to do is resize this dog. Do this by going up here to the toolbox, clicking on the scale tool, clicking the dog image. Then we can reduce the size just by going to any one of the corners and dragging it down. That looks alright, so we go up and click scale. Now before I do that, it's important when you're scaling it, make sure that this is locked and it's not open like that. What this will do is preserve the width and the height to be the same. That way when you move it, the width isn't going to stay wide while you're moving the height down, which will make a fat dog. So by keeping this, it will preserve the image. So now we click scale, and that looks pretty good. We're going to move it. So the next step is going to the Move tool, and this is in the toolbox. Click on the image again, and then we move it around to where we want on the screen. I'll put it up at the top middle, like that. Then finally, if you want to, depending on the image, you can rotate it. Click the Rotate tool, come back to the image, and click on it. If this is in the way, you can move it. But now, holding down the mouse button, move it right or left, and you'll see that the image begins to move. So I'm going to just tilt it a little bit of an angle. And then when I'm happy with it, you click Rotate. So that looks okay. Now the next step is bringing in another image. But before we do that, I'm going to ask you to open one more menu up. You do that by going to Windows, Dockable Dialogues, and then Layers. Now here's the Layers menu, and this will prove to be an important menu later on in the process. Right now you can see the original background, which is the background image, and then you see the dog, which is on top of the background. Now how layers work is that it's actual images on top of each other than just one general image. And this will prove beneficial because we can move around layers and adjust them so that the collage will look much more professional. So now that we have that, we're ready to bring in the next picture. We can go to File, Open as Layers, make sure you do that and not Open. And then we choose the second dog. Double click on it. Now I used a large dog, for example, to show you that this dog is much bigger than the actual background. So we're definitely going to have to scale this down. So we go over to the Scale tool, click on the dog, and just by looking at the width over here, you can see that it's 2550 pixels compared to up here where the background is only 1024. So to do this quickly, we can type in 1024. That'll change because you have this locked, and that's important. We click Scale. See the progress down there, and you can see that it's scaled, but it moved it in the top right corner. We're going to go over to Move, bring this back into focus of the background, and now you see that it's almost the exact same size as the background. So we're making progress, but we're going to want to scale again. Click on it, And now we can use the corners to adjust it. Starting to bring it down. That looks like a decent size. That's the preview. So now you click scale. And there you have it. So we're going to move this. Hold down the left mouse button. Move it around to where you'd like it. I'm going to have it be right here. Or so. That looks alright. And then if you want to rotate it, you go back to here. I won't do that for every picture because it's not necessary. Finally, I'm going to do one more picture in this tutorial just to save time. Open up a third dog, bring it in. We're going to need to scale it again. Go over to the scale tool, click on the image, bring it down, and that's a good size. Click scale and move it. So I'll move it down here and then rotate it. And then that's a good start. I'm going to import a couple other pictures and then start the tutorial again from there. Now, as you can see at this point, I've brought in 5 photos and I've placed them, I've resized them all so they're at all decent sizes for the collage. But the only problem is they don't look too good right now because they're overlapping each other. So we're going to have to work on that. First thing we're going to do is go over to the move tool and move the photos to where we want them to be in the collage. So the only one I really want to change is this one that's still underneath. So I'm going to bring it down just a little bit to about there. And I'm also going to rotate it now. Whoops. Actually, it's fine. Okay. Now comes in the importance of this layers menu that we have open. If you need to open it again, go to Windows, Dockable Dialogues, and Layers. Or you can press Control and L, and that should open it. Anyways, here we see all the different layers. We have the background on the very bottom, and then the 5 dogs that we've brought in the order that we've brought them in. So this would have been the first one we imported, the second one, the third, the fourth, and so on. So one thing I want to do is bring this to the front a little. This is the chocolate lab or golden retriever looking dog in the back. So we want to find that, and that's actually the first one that we brought in. So you see that it's outlined here, and we have it clicked. We want to move it up in the layers and keep clicking it. And you see that it's just overlapped this one to the left, but we want it to overlap the one to the right as well. So we move it up, and now you see that it's the top layer in here, and now it also overlaps the other 2 layers. So that's a good position. Now I'm going to move this layer with the boxer a little bit by clicking the move, and then move it just a little bit so it's covering more space. And then also I'm going to move this layer over a little bit more. So there we have it. There's a basic collage tutorial. Obviously, if you have more pictures or if you want it to look a little bit better, you're going to spend more time with it. But this will give you a general idea how to resize photos, use a background, and get a collage looking decent.